you his flowers. I mean, going back to L Bags, because you're always here and you're on Dan's platform. All I'm gonna say is you was right, I was wrong. But if you're right all of the time, can we get some lottery ticket numbers? Because I want to be rich and I'll buy Isaac for this football club if you're on the right money. Would you make a Saliba? Because obviously a lot of people have said, Saliba ain't been at his best. And I agree with that on one hand, but then I also believe like when you set the levels you have in the last 2 years, are you playing poorly, or is it because we're used to something? Naturally, Gabriel compliments him. He's like the big brother to the little brother. And even everyone that's gassing Kivior, you wanted Magalhaes. I saw Saliba stand up tall. I think that's his best performance of the season, mainly because of the leadership. I saw him take on the mantelpiece from Gabriel. What did you make of William Saliba?
Oh man, I love this performance.
Quality, man.
I love this performance, man. I love this performance, and I think it's the only time I've seen William Saliba lead Arsenal. And what I mean by that is I've never really had him down as one of our captains. I never really believed that he'd be like in the say when you talk about who should have the armband. Erdegaard's got it. We look at Rice and Gabriel. Sometimes it's given to Saka or Gabriel Jesus or one of the experienced men like Jorginho. I would be more than happy after seeing his performance leadership-wise to give him the armband if needed. Not as like in front of the others, but if it was a chance
part of that
like,
thing.
you're part of it, you're the next one, the other couple have got injured or they're not away or it's a cup game and he's got to come in and lead, I'd be happy to give him the armband because what I saw was a proper Rolls-Royce defender. You know why everyone's looking at this lad. He's absolutely outstanding.
Good bit of defending from him as well for one of our headers in the first half. It's just a shame it was Real Madrid.
Outstanding from him from head to toe. He looks calm and composed on the football more than I've seen in a long time. I think his ball playing is outstanding. And if you look at what Rio Ferdinand was doing at this age, I don't think that he was as good as what Saliba is doing. Now, people might disagree because he would have won stuff by now and he was outstanding at West Ham, which got him the move to Leeds, which then got him the move to Manchester United. But at the age of 23, 24, I think Rio had only just gone to Manchester United, if I'm wrong. I might lie. That might not be true. But I don't think he'd have won as much stuff in the game as what he might have at that stage.
Even Van Dijk at this age wasn't what Saliba
That's a good
doing.
example as well. So Van Dijk was at like Groningen and then Celtic and then obviously Southampton, then Liverpool. So for me, I think when you compare him to what other players have done and defenders have done, it's been outstanding. And if I'm honest with you, I've just looked at the partnership of William Saliba and Kivior. They've lost one game since 2023 when they've been pairing together. They've played quite a few games here as well. And the only games they've lost is Fulham away last season, 2-1, where Kivior actually come off in the end because he was quite bad at 46. I think he come off at half time, so he played quite badly. But he was at left back then, not at centre back. And the other two games we lost was Porto 1-0 away where Drea got lobbed. And we lost 2-0 at Liverpool in the FA Cup last season. PTSD. Everything else is either a draw or a win. And we've got probably 35 games there, I would say, 30 games. So in those 30 games, we've lost once against Fulham, went out against Liverpool, and we lost to Porto. So 3 times we've lost with them two playing in the team. Sometimes you look at that and think, wow, I never noticed that. Like I never noticed the consistency of Koscielny and Mertesacker for years, but I looked at the stats. We hardly lost when they partnered together. We went through a stage of having 22 games without a loss or something when they were both at the back together. So as much as you don't like people on paper, sometimes they complement each other. I remember there being a crazy comparison here when we first started and we were in the absolute dross. Pablo Mari and Rob Holding were statistically our best partnership together, right? Now, I wouldn't want them.
Some people used to say Marie was better than Magalhaes. We was in the mud.
There we go. There's so many people that were like, this guy looks unbelievable. So sometimes partnerships complement each other. Now, the best partnership we've got is Gabriel and Saliba, right? And I'm not saying that this partnership will be better, but actually Kivior alongside Saliba, I don't want to speak too soon, but it hasn't been too bad statistically.
Does that change your mind about maybe getting rid of Kivior in the summer?
It doesn't, and I'll tell you why. It's nothing to do with his quality. It's to do with him. I think he wants first-team football, and I don't think we can offer him that. And you need to allow that. You need to want players there as the kind of player to get in. And I do think we can upgrade on Kivior as well still. There's links with Dean Howson over at Bournemouth. Jorel Harto is being linked over at Ajax. I think Liverpool want him as well. Obviously, there's players that haven't really been mentioned for a couple of seasons that aren't really settling into their squads that have come in. And Evan and Dika was mentioned from Roma, who I've always been a fan of defensively. I think Murillo or Milenkovic would be unbelievable signings, if I'm honest with you,
Murillo in
as well.
particular. Wow.
Yeah. So I think there's players that we can, but I don't think it's a priority, if I'm honest.
Do you think, like, again, I'm going to get into the transfers in a bit, yeah, but when you see some of this, I think everyone can see maybe there's a case for like a Timber Tomiyasu defender that can fill in those positions. Some would say a left-sided centre back, some would say a left back, some would say a right centre back who could play right back. Do you feel like we need that?
Yeah, I mean, I still don't think we've sorted out the strength in depth in defence, and people might laugh at me because we have got a
It
stacked
sounds
defence.
mad, but I'm with you when you break it down.
Yeah, like if you got them all fit and all on paper, you'd go, "Oh, Arsenal don't need any defenders," but they're not fit on paper all the time, right? So Zinchenko, nobody wants. Kieran Tierney, nobody wants other than me, right?
Yeah.
Calafiori, people have doubts about. Lewis Skelly and Timber have come in brilliantly, but Tommy Tomiyasu always injured. So out of the fullbacks I've just named there's only Calafiori, Lewis Skelly, and Timber and White that people want to keep. So that means we've only got 3 fullbacks, yeah? So we might need another one. Then you look at the centre halves. We've just discussed how Kivior might be moved on, so we need to bring somebody in. Well, that's a left-sided centre-back we're bringing in, so Gabriel's now got cover, but who's covering for Saliba? So what we have is we only actually have, instead of 8 defenders, 2 right-backs, 2 left-backs, 2 right-sided centre-backs, and 2 right-sided, that's left-sided
It's a
centre-backs.
mix and blend
We've
and
got
all
a
them
mix
things.
and blend of, oh, you 4 are all playing in your positions, but the other 4 can play everywhere. And I don't like that amount of versatility. I like someone who comes in and does a job for a couple of games, but not like I will leave that because if he goes out for 6 months, Tomiyasu will just be our centre back for 6 months. Nah, man, that's not what you want. Like we need to be strong in every position. So Timber and White is strong at right back, Calafiori and Lewis Skelly at left back. We need to go and buy 2 centre halves if Kivior goes. So we could end up getting rid of Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, Kivior, and Tierney, but we need to bring in 2 more. We need to bring in somebody like Milenkovic and Harto. Yeah, that's what we would need to do. Yeah, or Howson and Harto coming in to back up for Gabriel and Saliba. This is how we're going to win competitions and be, because this is the thing, we haven't won
And
anything
competing
yet.
for trophies.
And compete with 4, not we might win 1. This is what we're trying to do to get across the line for 1. We need to be competing with all 4. We're like Manchester City and Chelsea were doing. So when Manchester City
Facts.
gets Stones out, they're like, right, Nathan Ake comes in. Oh, Ake's not about. He's suspended. All right, we'll bring Akanji in then. Yeah, but Akanji, all right, we'll bring Gvardiol in then. All right, we've got Diaz. They can all play centre
And
half.
then there's some
Yeah,
random academy player that will plug some sort of gap. And I'm sorry,
precisely.
Pep will play
Yeah.
got a Nunes right back or something.
And Liverpool, like people say Liverpool squad's not better than ours, but we're at the back. They're actually got 2 right backs in Trent and Bradley, 2 left backs in Simicas and Robertson, 2 left-sided centre backs in Joe Gomez and Konate, and 2 right-sided in Van Dijk and Kwanzaa. So they've actually got 8 defenders, 4 full-backs, 4 centre backs. We don't have that. We've got 6
That's
left
a good
backs.
point, Dan. I didn't think of it
You know
like
what I'm
that.
saying?
I can't lie. That's a great point, Dan, because I would have said if somebody asked me before you broke it down, I would have said we've got stronger defensive depths than Liverpool, and you just proved me
We've
wrong
got
there.
more
And
left
obviously, throwing, huh?
backs. We've got more left backs, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
that's true. And even that, they can throw Joe Gomez, and the Joe Gomez can throw over there. Timmy Cass is over there. Connor Bradley.
Yeah.
We need depth in it. And even when you look at our squad, and people like to say if and when everybody's fit, I feel that's the red flag because not everyone's going to be fit all of the time. As you said, there's injuries, there's suspensions, there's X, Y, Z. And if there was ever a season that we know why you need depth, it's now. As romantic as it is with the starting 11, for example, against Real Madrid, this time next year, you don't want to be in that. With the greatest of respect to Kivior, Mikel Marino's done his thing up front. You want a proper striker. You want a centre back that you've got real confidence in. Lewis Skelly, unicorn, doing his thing. In fact, that's something I don't want to skip over. Julian Timber and Lewis Skelly, man.
Oh,
That
bro.
Lewis Skelly's
Bro.
going down in folklore, man. He's nutmegging. He's playing well. Like what that man has done in these 8 months to playing against Real Madrid and starring in the game and playing a key role. I'm running out of words for that 18-year-old, bro. I don't. How many games has he even played for us? It might even barely be 20, maybe 20 and some change. It's mad. It's mad. And shout out Timber post ACL.
Brother, these 2 were probably the 2 that I would have mentioned after Partey and Rice straight away. People have given Marino flowers and Saka and Martinelli, and I'm sure we'll get onto them at some point. But I look at these 2, and I just cannot believe how good they were against 2 of the best wingers in world football. Whether you're a fan of Vinny Jr. and Rodrigo ahead of some others in the game, that's a different debate. But don't tell me they're not world-class players because they've been phenomenal for the last few seasons. They've won everything
Facts.
with Madrid, and they've been really pivotal into how they've won, which is why people think Vinny Jr. and Rodrigo have been better than Saka and Martinelli when people do combined 11s. Yeah, of course they have been. They've been absolutely phenomenal, yeah, in what they've done in the last few years at Real Madrid and what they've won, and how they've
Facts.
been pivotal to scoring their goals and moments players and all this kind of stuff. This is why they are better than them. Like, I love Saka. He's my boy, and I'll stick up for him and I'll back him to the hill. But you can't say that he's been there and done it like Rodrigo has. So Rodrigo's ahead of him in the pecking order, right? Individually, you might have a debate that Saka's better. But right now, you look at what Rodrigo's doing and how
The
pivotal he's
body of work.
been for Real Madrid for what he's won, which is why that people would say he was better. We're talking about Vinny Jr. as one of the best players in the world right now. And both of them just literally breeze them, bro. And when I look at what Lewis Skelly has done as an 18-year-old, it is literally phenomenal and quite
Makes me
outstanding.
think, what the hell was I doing at 18 when I was trying to get a
Brother,
driver's
18
license,
years
bro?
old, I was had a beer in my hand and I was chatting up women. Yeah, this guy,
Exactly.
absolutely,
Like, life
he's
is not
probably
fair, man. Shout out
he's,
Lewis Kelly, man.
he's probably doing that on the side as well, to be fair to
He,
him.
need, he needs to. You think I wouldn't be in my Instagram DMs after a game like that? It's probably why
Facts,
I'm not
bro.
a footballer and he is. Like,
Exactly, bro. I don't think there's any body that can doubt this kid. He's been getting quite a lot of stick on social media for being this cocky, arrogant, stay humble type
but
character.
then we say everybody's the same in football. You can't have your cake and
Facts,
eat it.
facts, bruv. And I've got to be real. Yeah, there's an opportunity here that he's found. That he's found. Big ups SLD, man. He's
Big
found
him
an
up, man.
opportunity and he's taken it, bruv. Right? Not just has he got himself into the first team and then around it in pre-season, he's then showed the boss that he can do something when called upon. He's got a versatility about his game, like he can play in another couple of positions, just like Ethan can. And at left back, it was a position I didn't see him playing in when he was a youngster, but he has absolutely taken his chance. And I look at him and think sometimes you get caught out. His performance on Tuesday proved that he can be disciplined. The reason, if you think about it, when he has got caught out, if the games, if I
Bit,
remind
bit
myself of
too
the
mad,
games
innit?
where he got caught out, we were trying to score a goal. So, for example, Fulham, yeah, was probably the only one I would say, didn't need to go up and bomb there. We were 2-0 up. The
And
others,
I said this on your stream. I think Arteta should have taken him off then. So I do think
yeah, exactly that.
obviously Lewis Kelly's
Exactly
got to
that.
do something, but it's game management in that game.
Exactly that. Liverpool, he got caught out, but we needed to. We had, I think, a back five at the time, which was
I'm sure
depleted. Yeah,
Bolton as
everyone
well
had
in the
gone.
League Cup or something.
League Cup,
Way
but there
back
was
when.
one more against West
Newcastle?
Ham where he got
Oh,
sent
West
off
Ham as well.
and he got caught out. But we were 1-0 down, and he was trying to, get on the ball and do what he could with it. He got caught out and pulled the guy back. So I don't look at his opportunities of bad discipline. The Everton penalty was a mad one. The PSV yellow
Madness.
card, I could say, was potentially a question mark for him.
First time he
Everyone
showed his age
flinted
that
on the
game.
Wolves one, but they admitted they got that wrong and said, it's not a red card, so they got it rescinded. I looked at his performance and I thought, right, I've got huge question marks over our left-hand side anyway. I've got even more
And it's still
question
there.
marks now because Kivior and Lewis Skelly are now together. This is going to be a test. And both of them pulled through. And I think what Lewis Skelly has done in the matter of 6 to 8 months has been something that no player can dream of, let alone him. Yeah, he's walked into the first team. He's got himself into the first team. He's got himself off the bench a few times. Then he's held down a position at left back, position that he's not really played a lot. He's been
Stuck it
fearless.
on
He's
Haaland,
been
made his England
confident.
debut. It's crazy.
He's made his England debut. He's scored on
And
his
scored.
England debut. Gets called up there. He's now gone and played against Real Madrid in the Champions League. This guy deserves his flowers. And if I'm honest with you, I don't think
Young
he's
player
got
of the year.
anywhere near enough plaudits because rival fans don't like to praise Arsenal players. That's what it is.
He should
Chelsea,
win
City,
PFA Young Player of the
United.
Year, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and I think he should get that. I don't know if he will because normally it goes to someone who's 23, but they've really been on the scene for about 5 years. Yeah, so
Foden's gonna get it again.
it'll probably be somebody in the mold of, I don't know, Ryan Gravenberch or someone like that. Yeah, that's probably what it'll be.
Facts.
But when you look at what it should be Miles Lewis Skelly ahead of Ethan as well. And I think one area is unbelievable. So when I look at his performance, I thought it was outstanding. Timber, I'm running out of superlatives for him now.
I've got no words. Timber's
This
just
guy, brother,
amazing.
is absolutely outstanding. And I don't know another fullback at right back in the world right now doing what he's doing. Please chuck some names
Post
at me if you
ACL.
want to. Yeah. ACL, robot, come back consistently, unbelievable amount of games, playing at left back, playing at centre back, playing at right back, which I think he's definitely our best right back and one of our best players. I think he is absolutely outstanding. And I think he is as good as Gabriel as a signing for Arteta. I think Gabriel just edges it in terms of Arteta signings, but Timber for me is now second. He
He's
has
up there.
been absolutely world class for us, mate. And I don't think people spoke about this signing enough at the time. I
I
was
said it. I said
tremendously
this is the
excited.
most important signing that we would have
Brother.
made, and I said
So
because
important.
Rice was signed for 100 odd mil, fair play. Timber's crazy. Now Rice, you scored 2 great goals, and I'm sure Dan will get on it. But Timber, thank you, man. Like that's all I can say. That like, thank you,
He's been
Timber.
outstanding. He has. And, for 38 mil, yeah,
Bargain.
what a signing. Versatile, would walk into any team in the Premier League. And if you're looking at right backs in the world football, right now, I think when everybody is fit, Julian Timber's right up there. People can shout out Trent and Hakimi, and you can pick
He's more
out
rounded than them two.
Valverde or Carvajal if you want to. For me, I think he has been absolutely world class in his position. Love him.
I mean, Timber and Lewis Skelly's the shortest ones, man. I'm happy to have I see someone in the chat say Lewis Skelly's the next Ashley Cole. He's got a long way to go. But if you've been playing for 8 months in his first team, and that's a conversation, that's great. Personally, I'd love him to get more opportunities in midfield, but that would probably mean Declan Rice going to the right. And obviously Lewis Skelly playing in the 8 or 6 on that side. But these are good conversations, man. So yeah, big up these players for standing up to be counted. So that's our back five. Yeah, if we progress it into midfield, I want to talk about, obviously, we'll get on to Declan Rice. He's been up here for a minute. He scored 2 goals, cost 105 million. Everybody's had a lot of shit to say about Arsenal and Declan Rice, even though I think he's like Superman. He stood up to be counted numerous times. In context, is not like scoring 2 bangers against Madrid, but in context is like that. But I feel if you can isolate Declan Rice's goals, right, we needed everyone in midfield to stand up to be counted. Now, the two people behind Odegaard in Declan Rice and Partey, if you park Rice's great goals off, I think Partey was superb. He rolled back the years, man. Where are you at with Rice and obviously Thomas?
Got to be two of the best individual performances I've seen in midfield for quite some time, bruv. Let's start with Partey because Rice gets the plaudits for the goals in a minute. I thought he was close to being player of the match. I thought he controlled everything in midfield. I thought it was an absolute Rolls Royce performance. If people are calling Saliba a Rolls Royce, he's got to be a Bentley, Thomas Partey, because it's just absolutely exceptional what I see from him. And I do probably think he probably was player of the match in terms of his all-round game. Declan's going to get it for his 2 outstanding free kicks, and I understand why. But Thomas Partey was absolutely faultless, bruv. It was
Different.
different gravy, and I would give him another year extension after the performances I've seen this season. He's proved he can stay fit. All right, might not be unbelievably fit in terms of playing every single minute of every single game, and he's the most durable one out there. But at 30 or 31 years old, he's proven that he can stay fit for this season. He's been our best midfielder by quite some distance, and I think he's been one of the most consistent performers. And when you look at a wealth of experience and
Arteta
understanding
loves
how
him as
to
well.
play
Plays
these,
him all the time.
well, he does love him, and that's why I'm
Puts him
wondering
right
why
back
he
in
hasn't
that.
signed yet. I'm wondering why he hasn't signed yet. Is he going to sign a new 1-year contract? Is he going to be given another deal? I think he should be.
I think it should be, but the money, I think it's just a chance to clear ranks, and I guess
Well,
in the
that's
summer we'll
that's
see.
the thing. But the problem is, it shouldn't be about that, should it? Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It should be about who's performing on the pitch. Zubimendi coming in, cool, but he comes in and he tries to get in the team ahead of Partey because at the moment he's our best six. He's our best six. Look, I want to revamp the midfield and I want it to be some serious surgery in it. But if we remove Thomas Partey, it has to be someone better than Partey. If it ain't, then Partey stays in there. Yeah. So that's where I'm at with his performance. I thought it was unbelievable. In terms of his physical attributes, I've never doubted them, but his casual ability on the ball, his passing range, his consistency
Most
in
all-rounded
transition.
midfielder we got.
I think so. People would say Rice, but I actually think Thomas Partey is the best of the midfielders that
He
we've
can do
got.
a bit of everything. Rice is just captain fantastic, and I love Rice, but I think Partey can do a bit
Oh,
of
yeah.
everything. Can do a bit
Yeah.
of the
And you know
Jorginho
what?
thing, bit of the
Igawa,
Rice thing.
I
Yeah,
think it was me and Kenny
big up
with
Kenny.
Igal. And yeah, big up
Big
to
up
both of them.
Miguel. Cause side note, Dan, that stream you did with him, Lee, it's golden, man. Miguel had his time, man. Big up Miguel.
He
But go
did,
ahead.
man. Igal and Christian had their time finally. But look, I think Igal asked the question, who's our best player? He said Saka. And this was about 2 years ago, probably 2 seasons ago now, maybe 18 months ago. And I said Thomas Partey, and people didn't like that. They said, no way, it's Saliba and Saka. Now, I agree, it probably is Saliba and Saka overall. But the question was, when everybody is fully fit and when everyone is at their best of their games, who is our best player? And I believe it is Thomas Partey. And I still stand by that. When everyone plays their best, when everyone's got a 9 or a 10 out of 10, I think Thomas Partey, we win the game because of him. There might be moments from Saka's quality. There might be stability at the back with Saliba. He literally runs the midfield. And this is why I had so much respect for Patrick Vieira, players like Paul Scholes, players like Roy Keane, players like Yaya, players like Kante. Thomas Partey he's not at that level consistently, but he has moments where he's at that level. And games like the other night, he was at that level. Like if you would have rolled back the years, you would have thought, crikey, who's that Vieira in the middle there?
He looked like the one, you see, if you typed in Partey on YouTube when we were about to sign him, that's how Partey was playing against Madrid.
Bruv, he can't go. I don't think he can go now. I don't think he can go. I'll actually be really disappointed if he goes. I won't be like devastated crying because I believe that we can go and get another replacement. But come on, man. Like, let's be real. He was
It's an interesting one about like the key players thing, because I do think it's Saka. He's got inevitability. A half-fit Saka somewhat half-fit Saka has been great against Madrid. And I'd love to know your thoughts in a second, in a sense of, obviously, you was at the game. I think it was the first kind of, not street smart performance from Saka, but street smart, because he was putting his defenders on toast each and every time. And he obviously won the free kicks. But then at the same time, it's like he kind of, you could see he knew when to, he was more conscious of when to ask for the ball, when to take his man on, when to kind of let other people shine. And I think Martinelli and Lewis Skelly initially in that game down the left were absolute quality. It's an interesting one though, because I think you've got a solid case with Partey. I think naturally, for obvious reasons, Saka. But then I tried to kind of flip it and think whose absence would be felt the most, in which they all would. But then you could throw Gabriel Magalhaes in there. I know we've batted up Madrid with Kivior, but you could say, I'd say our most important players, or players that have a case for that. I think Timber's thrown his hat in the ring. I think Partey's there. I think Magalhaes is there. I think Saka. And I think Declan Rice as well, man. Like, we've been skipping over it because he scored and whatnot. But like Rice, man, people say he's not world class. He's not worth the money. He's not an 8. Doesn't do it in big games. I've seen it in a big game, and I did wonder, why have you not been taking free kicks more often for our club, man? Where you at with Declan?
Oh, wow. He was unbelievable, wasn't he?
Amazing.
He was absolutely unbelievable. People like it when I eat humble pie. Not that I need too much of it.
You're not alone, Dan. You're not alone.
When I eat humble pie when we win a Champions League or a Premier League, it will taste beautiful. I was really happy though the other night to eat humble pie about Declan and his position in this 8, because not that I do think he should play there. I still think he's a 6. However, I think he's got glimpses where he can play there, and when the opposition allows it, he can be absolutely like ridiculous. He was a destroyer. He was a box-to-box. He had athleticism. He had interceptions. Off the ball, he was world-class. On the ball, he was magnificent. He was driving us forward. And I don't understand why Odegaard's been taking free kicks when this guy's got this in his
Trust me.
Maybe we haven't realised it yet. I think Mikel Arteta was actually stunned at how good he was. Now, I'm not sure.
100%.
Maybe he's not been doing that on the training ground, or maybe he's not been allowed to give that choice. Because this is what people say about Declan Rice. Why has he not been taking free kicks? I don't think the manager has said, you're not on free kicks. I don't think Declan Rice has said, I should be on free kicks and set pieces. I think where our set piece coach has got involved is it's always about deliver it into the box, deliver it into the box. And we saw, didn't we? He come out and he was doing that, whip it. Now, people think that was him whipping it round the wall to shoot. Apparently, it was whipping it to go to the far post, because that was what he was told to do. And if you see in the interview after the game, he said, Bukayo Saka told me, if you fancy hitting it, Dec, hit it. So he did. And that was the first goal. And then the second one, he had the confidence to go, I'm going to go and put this. Now, that second free kick, let me tell you, my bro, that is the best free kick I've ever seen live at a football ground.
And I don't think you'll see a better one as long as you live.
And I don't know that there's a better one in Arsenal's history. There might be a better one in history with Beckham's and Roberto Carlos's and Janino's and all these, man. But for me,
in front of Roberto Carlos, it's crazy.
Brother, I do believe it's the best Arsenal free kick I've ever seen. There's Thierry Henry's against Roma that was great, Juventus that was great, Villa that was great, Wigan where he said, "Is that enough?" to the referee. All those free kicks were outstanding.
But
I don't
nah,
think any of them were like this. In the terms of the momentum of the game, what it meant to the crowd, what it meant for this game against the best team that's ever been
to
around
do
in
it
round three,
twice, like
to do that twice in a game,
seven,
man, I just I don't know how many times you've watched it, but it's got to be over 200 for me now.
bro.
I,
I've watched it more times than I've watched certain things, man. Like,
brother,
boy, I mean, I'm gonna keep watching it regardless of how the campaign pans out. Like, goal of the season, without a doubt. There's no words for what Declan Rice did, but there's also
no,
something I wanted to ask you, yeah, because I think whatever people have to say about Mikel Arteta and whatnot, I think people can see the man can set us up well. He can compete. He can kind of micromanage little things and stifle the opposition and stuff. And I think all of that typically goes to script. Like it could have ended 0-0, and that would have been a good point. But like you touched on it there, yeah, and that Saka said to Rice, if you feel like doing it, go and do it. Do you feel like we kind of need to do, obviously we can't do things just off the cuff too much, but in a game like that where you've controlled the margin, you've competed well, but you need that quote unquote stardust in which we need players. Do you think we need to start doing random stuff like that, or if players feel like it, just say F it, have a go type of thing?
So one thing I've always been critical of with Mikel Arteta is his man management and his micro management, and
Mm.
sometimes that is going to have a kind of positive impact and also a